Hello, this is Candy from eyes2jesus.blogspot.com bringing you anti-Vlogmas for December 5th. And I don't know about you, but for me personally, an anti-Vlogmas is kind of a breath of fresh air. There are several people on YouTube that I'm subscribed to that are awesome, but I can't watch them for the month because they're doing all Vlogmas and blah. I don't need to be watching that. So, any other viewers here who would like to join me in anti-Vlogmas, please do so, and please leave a link in the comments. I would love to go watch your anti-Vlogmas video. Go ahead and step outside, give it a try, and see what happens. So, things going on today. Well, it is not freezing and snowing today, which is nice. It is surprisingly clear blue skies and in the 50s, which is totally not the forecast. So I was really enjoying that. When we went to take the dog for a walk, we about by habit put her coat on her and realized it's blue skies and in the 50s. We're fine. So yeah, she enjoyed her walk. I just popped on a sweater because the 50s is a bit chilly for me. And we had a nice walk. And I am so appreciative of the blue skies. It's so cheerful and pretty. And oh yeah, about 5:45 this morning, a couple of foxes came up pretty close to the house. In fact, they were off in the side yard, and there was two of them doing their high-pitched fox yip-type sounds and squealing to each other. Oh, that is so cute. What's interesting here in these woods is I haven't found any coyotes yet over here. We don't seem to have any family clans in this territory, but we do have foxes. So I have been enjoying the foxes, and the other day we had a good herd of about 9 or 10 white-tailed doe deer going across our driveway. So even though it is autumn and very winter-like on almost every day lately around here, it is still wonderful that I get to see and enjoy nature and animals specifically. I would like to put out a prayer request. A very good friend of mine, her son is in the hospital. I think he's around 11 years old. He has been vomiting for a couple of weeks and got very dehydrated, and the doctor decided to admit him. Let's just pray for a recovery for him and that he will be better soon and coming out of the hospital, and also for financial help for my friend, because we all know medical bills, especially hospital bills, most certainly are not cheap. And pray for comfort and help and uplifting for his mother. All right, let's go ahead and get on to our anti-Christmas topic that I want to talk about today. And I do want to keep these videos short, especially on weekdays. I don't know about you, but I have a lot to get done. So these videos are meant to be fairly short. But today I wanted to share with you a law that was in effect. It was put into effect May 11, 1659. And this law I'm going to read to you is from the records of the General Court from the Massachusetts Bay Colony. And of course this law is no longer in effect, but this is interesting in regards to how celebrating Christmas used to be illegal. It says, for preventing disorders arising in several places within this jurisdiction by reason of some still observing such festivals as were superstitiously kept in other communities to the great dishonor of God and offense of others, it is therefore ordered by this court and the authority thereof that whosoever shall be found observing any such day as Christmas or the like, either by forbearing of labor, feasting, or any other way, upon any such account as aforesaid, every such person so offending shall pay for every such offense 5 shillings as a fine to the county. I thought that was interesting. It's referring to Christmas as such festivals as were superstitiously kept to the great dishonor of God and offense of others. And again, I don't take offense in today's definition of offense of being, ooh, Christmas offends me. But the offense I consider is the offense described in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, that of hurting another's conscience and causing them to stumble because they're seeing you partaking in these pagan practices, and yet you are a professing Christian. See, there's no question that Christmas has pagan origins. We did look in the Bible briefly at Jeremiah chapter 10, verses 2 through 4. But we also see ancient records. We see the Saturnalia, for example. There are many different things and historical records that point to the fact that Christmas was celebrated long before Christ was born, because the original Christmas, which was known under various different names in different areas of the world through the centuries, is a celebration of the birth of Baal, also known as Molech. See, Nimrod, you can read about him. He's basically the founder of Mystery Babylon in Genesis chapters 10 and 11. All right, Nimrod founded Babylon, along with some of the other areas surrounding. But Babylon, Shinar is also what the Bible refers to it, is where I'm going to stick with here. And according to the Babylonian tablet accounts and some other ancient tablet accounts, Nimrod died, and then his wife came up pregnant, and she claimed that it was a virgin pregnancy, that she'd never been with man, and that the baby in her womb was Nimrod come back from the dead. And then that baby's birth was on or near December 25th, and that was celebrated. And the way that that was celebrated back then is very closely to how people and Christians celebrate Christmas today. We have evergreen trees, gift-giving, feasting, merrymaking, mistletoe, Yule log, the Christmas ham. The Christmas ham comes from, that tradition has it, that when Nimrod died, he died from being attacked by a wild boar, a wild pig. Christmas ham. So anyways, there's some variations on the story. Mostly the variations was Semiramis, that was Nimrod's wife in the historical record. Was she claiming that it was a virgin birth, that she never even laid with her husband, or was she just claiming that this was a supernatural birth that had occurred? There's some discrepancies there. All right, but a lot of Christians think, well, it's what's in my heart that counts. Since I'm not purposely worshiping these pagan gods, then I can partake in Christmas. Well, knowing now a bit on the pagan background of Christmas, if you didn't know before, and knowing that Christmas is a tradition of man, it is not a tradition of God, is that okay? If it's what's in your heart that counts. Let's see. Let's look at Colossians chapter 2, verse 8, which says, "Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ." So don't be spoiled through what? Man's philosophy. Don't be spoiled through vain deceit. Don't be spoiled through traditions of men. And don't be spoiled through going after the rudiments of the world. But we're supposed to go after Christ. So we're not supposed to go after the traditions of men. Now, these traditions of men here specifically would be religious traditions of men that honors false gods. Regardless if you believe in that false god or worship that false god or not, going through the act and the rituals or the traditions that people do in honor of that false god, whether you believe in that god or not, is a moot point. You're still going through the acts regardless of what's in your heart. And the Bible tells us to abstain from all appearances of evil. So even having the appearance of partaking in Christmas can be construed as an appearance of evil, because you are still giving the appearance of partaking in a pagan holiday, well-established and known pagan holiday. Even the Roman Catholic Encyclopedia admits that Christmas originated as a pagan holiday and the church Christianized it. All right? So we are not supposed to keep the traditions of men. And when you partake of Christmas, Christian, you are putting the traditions of men above the Word of God. Jeremiah chapter 10 verses 2 through 4. We're not supposed to partake in that. And all over the Bible, including some of the scriptures I've already given you in some of these previous anti-Vlogmas videos, we see where God is adamant. He is a jealous, righteously jealous God, and He is adamant that we are not supposed to partake of the religious traditions, ceremonies, and festivals of the false gods. Be ye separate, Christian. What does that mean? Be ye separate is synonymous with coming out of Mystery Babylon, because Mystery Babylon pervades. It's the birds in the tree. It's the leaven in the lump. You need to get that leaven out. You need to stay away from those birds in the tree. Now, Paul the Apostle, he was guilty before his conversion and salvation through Christ. He was guilty of keeping the traditions of men higher than even the Jewish religion that he was so zealous for before he got saved. Take a look at Galatians chapter 1, verses 13 through 14. And Paul says, "For ye have heard of my conversation in time past in the Jews' religion, how that beyond measure I persecuted the church of God, and wasted it, and profited in the Jews' religion above many my equals in mine own nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the traditions of my fathers." So he is putting himself there in this epistle as an example for us not to do. Are you guilty of being exceedingly zealous of the traditions of your fathers, of your family, of traditions, rather than following the Word of God? So I could go on. I mean, look up traditions of man in the scriptures, and you'll see some other examples. But the point being here is we are not to follow the tradition of man. And let's just touch base a little bit on legalism. Now, I haven't had anyone complaining in the comments, calling not celebrating Christmas legalism. That's very nice, because it's not. Celebrating Christmas is legalism. Why is that? Because what is legalism? Legalism is adding to the Word of God, or changing the Word of God to suit you. It is never, ever legalism to follow the Word of God. Have a blessed day.